The Watsons by Jane Austen, Part 12. She was now so delighted to see dear Emma that she could hardly speak a word in a minute. "I am sure we shall be great friends," she observed with much sentiment as they were sitting together. Emma scarcely knew how to answer such a proposition, and the manner in which it was spoken she could not attempt to equal. Mrs. Robert Watson eyed her with much familiar curiosity and triumphant compassion. The loss of the aunt's fortune was uppermost in her mind at the moment of meeting, and she could not but feel how much better it was to be the daughter of a gentleman of property in Croydon than the niece of an old woman who threw herself away on an Irish captain. Robert was carelessly kind, as became a prosperous man and a brother, more intent on settling with the postboy, in vying against the exorbitant advance in posting and pondering over a doubtful half-crown, than on welcoming a sister who was no longer likely to have any property for him to get the direction of. "Your road through the village is infamous, Elizabeth," said he. "Worse than ever it was, by heaven. I would indict it if I lived near you. Who is the surveyor now?" There was a little niece at Croydon to be fondly enquired after by the kind-hearted Elizabeth, who regretted very much her not being of the party. "You are very good," replied her mother, "and I assure you it went very hard with Augusta to have us come away without her. I was forced to say we were only going to church, and promised to come back for her directly. But you know it would not do to bring her without her maid, and I am as particular as ever in having her properly attended to." "Sweet little darling," cried Margaret. "It quite broke my heart to leave her." "Then why was you in such a hurry to run away from her?" cried Mrs. Robert. "You are a sad, shabby girl. I have been quarrelling with you all the way we came, have I not? Such a visit as this I never heard of. You know how glad we are to have any of you with us, if it be for months together. And I am sorry," with a witty smile, "we have not been able to make Croydon agreeable this autumn." "My dearest Jane, do not overpower me with your raillery. You know what inducements I had to bring me home. Spare me, I entreat you. I am no match for your arch sallies." "Well, I only beg you will not set your neighbours against the place. Perhaps Emma may be tempted to go back with us and stay till Christmas, if you don't put in your word." Emma was greatly obliged. "I assure you we have very good society at Croydon. I do not much attend the balls, they are rather too mixed, but our parties are very select and good. I had 7 tables last week in my drawing-room. Are you fond of the country? How do you like Stanton?" "Very much," replied Emma, who thought a comprehensive answer most to the purpose. She saw that her sister-in-law despised her immediately. Mrs. Robert Watson was indeed wondering what sort of a home Emma could possibly have been used to in Shropshire, and setting it down as certain that her aunt could never have had £6,000. "How charming Emma is," whispered Margaret to Mrs. Robert in her most languishing tone. Emma was quite distressed by such behaviour, and she did not like it better when she heard Margaret 5 minutes afterwards say to Elizabeth in a sharp, quick accent totally unlike the first, "Have you heard from Penelope since we went to Chichester?" "I had a letter the other day. I don't fancy she is likely to make anything of it. I fancy she'll come back, Miss Penelope, as she went." Such, she feared, would be Margaret's common voice when the novelty of her own appearance were over. The tone of artificial sensibility was not recommended by the idea. The ladies were invited upstairs to prepare for dinner. "I hope you will find things tolerably comfortable, Jane," said Elizabeth as she opened the door of the spare bedchamber. My good creature, replied Jane, use no ceremony with me, I entreat you. I am one of those who already or always takes things as they find them. I hope I can put up with a small apartment for 2 or 3 nights without making a piece of work. I always wish to be treated quite en famille when I come to see you, and now I do hope you have not been getting a great dinner for us. Remember, we never eat suppers. I suppose, said Margaret rather quickly to Emma, you and I are to be together. Elizabeth always takes care to have a room to herself. No, Elizabeth give me half hers. Oh, in a softened voice and rather mortified to find she was not ill-used. I am sorry I am not to have the pleasure of your company, especially as it makes me nervous to be much alone. Emma was the first of the females in the parlour again. On entering it, she found her brother alone. So, Emma, said he, you are quite the stranger at home. It must seem odd enough to you to be here. A pretty piece of work your Aunt Turner has made of it. By heaven, a woman should never be trusted with money. I always said she ought to have settled something on you as soon as her husband died. But that would have been trusting me with money, replied Emma, and I am a woman too. It might have been secure to your future use without your having any power over it. What a blow it must have been upon you to find yourself, instead of heiress of 8,000 or 9,000 pounds, sent back a weight upon your family without a sixpence. I hope the old woman will smart for it. Do not speak disrespectfully of her. She was very good to me, and if she has made an imprudent choice, she will suffer more from it herself than I can possibly do. I do not mean to distress you, but you know everybody must think her an old fool. I thought Turner had been reckoned an extraordinary sensible, clever man. How the devil came he to make such a will? My uncle's sense is not at all impeached, in my opinion, by his attachment to my aunt. She had been an excellent wife to him. The most liberal and enlightened minds are always the most confiding. The event has been unfortunate, but my uncle's memory is, if possible, endeared to me by such a proof of tender respect for my aunt. That's odd sort of talking. He might have provided decently for his widow without leaving everything that he had to dispose of, or any part of it, at her mercy. My aunt may have erred, said Emma warmly. She has erred, but my uncle's conduct was faultless. I was her own niece, and he left to herself the power and pleasure of providing for me. End of Part 12.